Hey everyone, we are about to start, so you can take a seat on the way. Don't forget to grab a beer or a snack, because you know you're gonna need it. Although the talk is not going to be long, don't forget that this is mainly networking. Our talks is going to bring a topic, what we can talk about, and yeah, like that. So let me ask you, how are you tonight? Good. Okay, cool. Thank you all for coming. Thanks, Yona, who is over there, for organizing this event. Thank Lukáš for preparing another talk. He's going to take right after me. And let me ask you, why are you here tonight? Anyone? Okay, cool. Because you were forced. I talked to several of them, and obviously you come here to learn more about Kiwi. So you're going to learn what you're going to see, what are the problems, why Kiwi exists, and how we are solving travel problems with 300 engineers. Without further waiting, okay, technical stuff is problem always. All right. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Jakub, and I'm an engineering manager here in Kiwi. I've been here for 4 years already. I started as a Python engineer back in Brno quarter, and I've been focusing on automation and recently on leadership as well. If you have any questions during the talk, feel free to raise your hand. We can answer it right away, or just keep it, and in the end of the presentation, you're going to have a time to ask the question. And obviously, because we are on a networking event, feel free to ask me right after that. With me, I have several colleagues over here in the audience. We have Robin, we have Mikhail, we have Vova, Peter, and Lukáš. You're going to find them over here, so shoot the questions if you are interested in our technology or how we stuff, or even if you are in a job. In the beginning, I asked a question like, what are the problems with the travel? You probably heard a story of our founder, Oliver, who was traveling back in 2000, I think it was 11, when he tried to look for a flight from Prague to Portugal to visit his girlfriend. It was kind of hard stuff because there was no direct flight between Czech Republic and Portugal. So he was looking for the options coming from Prague throughout other cities in Europe to Portugal. You obviously can find a different kind of flights throughout the Europe, like to Belgium, to Paris, to, I don't know, Milan. And then from there, you're going to fly another set of flights. So you can see the offer is really complex. It's not easy always to find what you're looking for the best price. Also, when you talk to one mode, we travel with trains, we travel with buses, we even travel sometimes with scooters on the streets, or a hailing like Uber or anything else that you can find on the streets. We cannot exclude this model, and it's not always easy to incorporate them together. So multimodal is a way how this travel needs to work. And I mentioned several things like how you search for that. And well, when Oliver was searching for his flight, it was manual, and you would actually have to do it manual, which is kind of, you can imagine, you are engineers. It's not always what you want. For that reason, there's got to be a better way. Do you know this guy, by the way? His name is Raymond Hertinger. He's giving a talks about Python. I definitely recommend this guy. He has this saying like, there's got to be a better way. I really love it. Check it out afterwards. There is Kiwi.com for all the problems that we have. And there's got to be a better way because we are here. Kiwi.com is an inventor and a pioneer of virtual interlining. that hasn't been here before. So that's why KiwiCom is unique. It's the first multimodal platform in the world and one of the biggest. There are not that many companies in the world that are doing what we are doing. Plus, we are here since 2012. These numbers, as you can guess, are pre-COVID. So from the beginning of the year, we are managed to sell 40,000 flights per day, or seats, basically, not flights, I'm sorry. And we connected more than 800 carriers there. Plus, there are more than 10 million unique visitors of our KiwiCom service. We're solving the problem that I mentioned in the beginning. We're connecting the flights together and we are selling it to you via the single itinerary. So you don't have to think about it. Oh, I'm traveling with a train. Oh, I'm traveling with a bus. It's a single itinerary and we're taking care of that all the way through the journey. We provide guarantee for the transfer, so you don't have to be worried when you are missed your flight. And all these features are connected with a mission that we call Virtual Global Supercarrier. Maybe you heard about it, maybe not, but this is the main mission of the company. They're doing it multimodal, as I mentioned, so we don't think about the travel as just flights. And between our services, or on just the Virtual Global Supercarrier, over the time we managed to solve several interesting problems. I will mention one, which is Nomad. Maybe you heard about it. Has anyone heard about it? Can you raise your hands? Okay, several of you. For those, it's a unique service that allows you to put up to 15 destinations in the search, and we're gonna find you the best way how to travel between them, no matter what. You just select basically how long you want to stay in the destination, and gonna find you the best way how to travel between them. Mathematically, it was a problem of a traveling salesman. You probably heard about that. So even now, you can actually go to KiwiCom website and do the Nomad search. The other one I'm gonna explain a little bit is airside baggage transfer. Again, never tried before. It's a that allows airports to do transfer of your luggage between the airlines that do not cooperate with each other. So imagine you are flying from Prague to Stansted, and with the Ryanair flight, and from Stansted to Portugal with a Wizz Air flight. Right now, you would have to go and recheck your bags. With this service, you don't have to. So this is something that never happened before, and we are working on that with the Stansted Airport right now, plus with AirAsia going to start next year. How do we do it? It's a technology that's always behind it. Like without the technology, you really cannot accomplish such a level of ability to search those contents or automate. And that's what basically behind what we do. It's automation plus generating the content. The automation is based on Python mostly. That's how the company operates. You all are engineers, so you recognize probably all the names. So I'm going to talk a little more about each of them. But after that, feel free to ask me more. I can explain whatever is interested in you, whatever interests you. We are running with Docker. So all our services are in Docker and running in Kubernetes right now. We migrated from AWS to GCP, from Rancher to Kubernetes. Main hub for our the GitLab, where we also used CI and CD pipeline. We kind of really enjoy that doing it right now, and Lukáš is going to mention it also in his talk a little bit in more detail, how we operate with that. We like to use all the tooling that is available on the market to actually make sure that our code is certain quality. So something like a Sonar Cube for debugging, we use Datadog, Sentry, and other tools that make sure that the code is a quality depending on the language, of course. To make sure that the customers are all well served. Our customer support was we have a proprietary solution for our customer relation management system, which we call Balkan. Well, we even right now come up with a way how to automate any website in the world, which is also one of the appropriate internal development that's happening right now. Feel free to ask me after that. On the computation side, that's where we're generating the tremendous amount of flights or the combination that we sell to the customer and show in the search results. That's built on top of C++. We call it SkyStore and SkyProf. It's built on, it's using our custom database where all the combination flights are stored. Plus, it's running on top of ScyllaDB. Maybe you heard about it. It's a DynamoDB database. Anyone is using DynamoDB right now in AWS? Okay, you can feel free to ask. So this is like two main parts of the company where the technology is. These technologies are maintained by engineers or created by engineers spread across the globe. Our main hub is in Brno, where you can find headquarters and C-level management. But across the Europe, such as over here in Prague, Bratislava, Barcelona, Split, Zagreb, we also have an engineer. So all these you can find someone who is working with Kiwi. Plus, all around the world over here, we have the customer support centers. You are here in Prague, and although there are only 4 or 5 colleagues right now, in total there are around 30 engineers working here. We have full spectrum from Go developers and Python developers throughout the infrastructure engineers and ending in the UX and design. Also find some few product managers along the way. It's kind of young environment over here. So we really have a lot of fun over here, and it's great because a lot of everybody are really motivated. Way we started is we were really technological driven and engineering driven organization. Maybe you work for a small company and you are actually in the mode of engineers coming with the best ideas for the customer. That happens a lot, and that's what driven us in the beginning. So engineers were behind a lot of automation. What should we automate? How should we automate? Over the time, it works for such a long time, but over the time, we figure out that we also need a product perspective. You cannot really build something only from engineering perspective and not looking for a product. You need to basically different opinion and someone who validates the idea. Look, do the customers really need this thing? Are they gonna buy it? So that's why we come over the time and right now coming with something that we call dual leadership, where we basically separate engineering and product. They're looking on the same problems from different perspective. We are organizing ourselves in tribes and guilds. This is coming from Spotify model. Anybody heard about Spotify model of our organization? Yeah. Okay, we didn't go through all the way through. It was, I don't know if you tried that. It's really hard, and even for Spotify, it doesn't really work all the way. So we figure out that's also our case. So we only, or a certain level, we integrated the model into our system, into our organization. So right now we have tribes, which are sometimes, like in my case, where I'm Ancillaries engineering manager. We are over the domain of Ancillaries, where we have mobile, JavaScript, front-end and back-end, Python. So we are able to deliver 80% on our own. And in cases when there is something really needs to be delivered really fast, which happens during Corona times quite often, we are building these dynamic squads where no matter what team you are, you just go into a squad and you're working on that full time. All of this with the Virtual Global Supercarrier mission, we are not all the way there. We have still something in front of us that we want to do. For example, we are looking how to do a subscription model for the travel. That's something also never tried before. And need, again, people that can work with us and help us with this mission, who are to learn something along the way, and also in the problems that we are solving. So we are quite a heavy engineering organization that looks how to do things better. And Lukáš will go and talk about it in his talk a little bit more, how we do it. In kiwi.com, you can work with the really big data. Like, as I mentioned, search. That's a huge lot of data and many combinations. We look at the, what was there 10 years ago? That's probably technology that is stable enough and we can still use it. We're looking on a way of problems. So whatever technology is, we're going to use it as long as it solves the problem. And I have to admit, like, solving travel problems is quite fun. It's a complex, and if you are looking for complex things, this is the really good domain. So feel free to check our screens over there. There are some offers for our current job, and you can find more information over there as well. Other than that, thank you very much. This was the first talk. I know it was very brief, but feel free to ask any question you are interested in. And after that, I'm gonna give a place to Lukáš. All right, go ahead. So the question was if we do any open source development. Yes, we have our own platform teams that are what I'm taking care of this. So one of the example is something called Zoo, which is a service that accumulates information about the internal API that we have. So it has a backend and front end where you go and how I have this service, who is maintaining the logs, where I can find the dashboard. So this is one that we do. Right now it's in collaboration with Spotify. We are looking how to integrate their front end to our backend, because we figure out that, for example, in that case, their front end is much more advanced, but our backend is much more advanced than them. So that's an example of how we do. Any other question? All right, go ahead. So the question was, what technique are we using for the best match? It's a optimal. So we're looking for a optimal combination, which means that you are not always the best. Can mean something else for someone else. You cannot look for the cheapest. Always need for something. So search, we are work. And over the time, there are a few more, like over the few more data sets that makes the that creates the combination. So such as if you are looking for a travel with a bag, we have to make the combination that involves the bag for a certain price. So that's how we, for example, incorporate over time more data points. I don't really have an answer for you because I'm not really in that department. Anyone else? All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. So hopefully this mic will be working for me better than for Kubo. If not, I will be just screaming and shouting over here. So let me invite you to join me to this little thought experiment of how to be a good teammate. Well, as you might have seen, the company is not that old and the age average is not that old. So I don't claim to have all the answers. I just figured out mostly from books, my own experience. So I would I'll be glad to hear also your opinion. So this is just my opinion on the topic. All right, so this is me over here, not here. My name is Lukáš Benka, and I'm from Slovakia. Can I display here my notes from the presentation? Kubo, help. I had notes from the presentation. Okay. All righty. Anyways, I'm from this beautiful town called Bojnice. It's in Slovakia. I really recommend you to visit. It's around like 40% way to Český Krumlov to be like completely consumed by the tourists. So now is the good time, like year and a half, like in the future, don't go there. Right now, perfect. I like to travel. By the way, try to use Google Explorer feature. It's totally awesome. I like to travel whenever there isn't a pandemic in the world, so we can discuss that later. Yeah, I have a personal goal not to get fat, so I'm trying to do something about that. In my free time, I try to visit or be a part of actions and something like this. I try to be a tutor for, like in the Kiwi, we had Python weekend activities where we had a hackathon for juniors who haven't really been into Python. And we, for example, get to their local bus companies, we scrape them, we create like an easy search system on top of the data from the multiple bus company. Yeah, it was pretty good fun. We had like 10 runs, I think, maybe even more. Hopefully we'll have more in the future. So if you would like to join us, I'll be probably there. Yeah, yeah, that was a short introduction about me. Right now, I'm trying to get some people to cooperate together a bit better. Usually in the companies, it's called team lead. I'm not really sure about that, but yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm working with Python over like almost 5 years. The things that I'm most familiar with is the REST web APIs, the task queue, which is asynchronous task queue like Celery or AIO jobs, some asynchronous work, some automation of different processes. Since we need to solve the complex problem of multiple providers, we need to automate a lot of them. So that's that, and also some part of web scraping and a little bit from my past. Okay, so for the rest of the presentation, I was a bit lazy to change the stock pictures. And so let's start with our thought experiment. How to be a good teammate. My personal opinion is that even the best individual contributors just cannot beat the team. The team is better in almost any way. Like you definitely heard the saying that 9 women cannot deliver the baby in 1 month. That's certainly true, but 9 women can deliver 9 babies in 9 months. Maybe less probable, like a little bit less, but it's probable. So if you, for example, if you are planning to start a company, like a startup with your 2-3 friends, you are not a single developer in the team. Your 2-3 friends are over there with you. They are trying to help you. So you need to collaborate with them. You need to, and this really scales with the amount of people in the team, amount of feature that you are trying to cooperate with. So you just need to be a team player in order to be more efficient. But I can hear you saying, I'm the best contributor. Well, that's like perfectly fine for you. You are maybe the 0% snowflake that I wish I've been, but no, I cannot really just sleep faster. And unfortunately for you, you're gonna probably working with the rest of us losers like me, and you're just gonna need to adjust in one way or the other. So even though you're the best contributor like in the country, I don't think that you're gonna be able to like scale that well as a perfectly functional team of 5 to 10 people. All right, so let me introduce you to a problem from where I'm coming from, so you can adjust and see it a little bit from my eyes. So when I joined the company, it was a mess. There was, I don't know, like 20 to 50 developers maybe. Everyone was merging into a single code repository. We haven't been really thinking about the problem. We were implementing the problem usually right away without correct solution in front of us. We just sat behind the computer and he was doing that, and everyone just touched the same code. So it was really a huge ball of mess without any top or bottom. It was a single monorepo, not that good kind as in Google, the bad one. And it had a lot of problems. I will be probably getting back to them from next slides. But for example, it was pretty common that, well, the situation was everyone had SSH keys to any VPS servers that our production was running on. So it was pretty usual that someone just logged into the production server, changed something in the text editor, haven't pushed it to Git, then someone else's branch got merged, then it was released, then it broke something else. Meanwhile, someone force pushed on master, then it was released again, then it broke to another features. Mess. I will be getting back to that. So how to be a good team member? So it's a set of things. I'll just go through them quickly, like a continuous integration and continuous delivery, test, documentation, good practices, like thinking ahead, design first, human approach, standards, and familiarity. Okay, good. Now we can grab a beer, right? No, okay. I'll be continuing. So first topic that I choose to pick is tests. You might be asking, like, how tests really make me a better teammate? Well, one thought experiment is that you in the future, in next 6 months, is your teammate, because you're going to be probably reading the code. You're going to be need to understanding the code because you are no longer working on that feature. You probably long forget that it exists. And if there are no tests, well, okay. So 4 years ago, there were basically none tests. There weren't existing. We were kind of proud of having no release Friday. I'm right now a little bit ashamed that something like that exists. We were absolutely horrified and afraid that whatever we do, we break something. And even if it's got merged correctly and reviewed, it's going to break something that we don't know about, It was a mess. We weren't sure that it was implemented correctly because it wasn't tested. So even though that the feature existed, your body reviewed it, then it's still like we're not working. So anyways, we just deployed to the production and hoped for the best. And then I haven't slept for 4 hours. And everyone was like critically scared of touching other people code, which was not really great for collaboration. Okay, so let me summarize that. So how does it really relate to the teammates? You really want to have tasks because it increases your contributions to your code base. You don't want to be alone on a certain feature. You don't want to be a lone wolf that just takes care of everything. You probably want to take a vacation. It will raise your confidence, and not only yours, but also your teammates, because you are confident to release on Fridays and release basically any time of the day or night. It really boosts your morale and decrease your frustration and overall increases overall happiness, because all of the things that I explained just a second before. So how does the tests and ancillaries look right now? So around like 2 years ago, there were still none. But right now we are around like 70–80% coverage. Coverage doesn't really say anything, but I can tell you right away that I haven't been woken up by PagerDuty for, I don't know, like 7 months. So how is it in the reality? What we are doing differently? So I strongly encouraged everyone and basically forced to do in-person merge request reviews. And every single review, every single feature needs to be tested, needs to include the tests, and without it, it just cannot be merged. You know how it is hard to start with something. So this was something we just needed to start with. It was hard, it wasn't easy, it wasn't fun, but we enforced it, and now it's perfect. Or at least, like, nothing is really perfect, but we are getting there. Okay, so once we sat down for the merge request review, we explain how it works. We prove the point that the tests are not, that the tests are proving the point that feature is working, that the building blocks are working, that we are not breaking the rest of the codes. We can release any time of the day or the night, and it really invites the contribution from other teams, because we are not just working within our team, within our tribe, but we integrate APIs of different teams. They integrate our service. So a lot of the times can happen that we just working on priority issues and they fix the issue with our service themselves. Yeah, and I was already saying that your future self in 6 months is probably your best teammate or the most probable one. So again, how it really makes sense with the teammate. Okay, you as a part of the team and as well the team have better confidence of what they are doing is actually right. They better understand how it really works, how the building block works. It really enforces you to get better at designing what you are doing, because your building blocks, in order to test them correctly, are getting smaller and smaller. Therefore, the design is clearer, and you get a short feedback loop. You're gonna get a dopamine hit. You're gonna see the green check marks from your test that you're gonna be passing, and yes, implemented, tested. Now I can go to sleep. Cool. So that was one of the things. The other one is continuous integration, continuous delivery, and standards. 4 years ago, I already mentioned that we had a single management virtual server. From that, we had multiple virtual servers and some weird make file that was randomly in sequence, git pulling the master. It was terrible. And people were not behaving. They were force pushing to master. Then rebases get damaged. Then manual changes on production services because no one really wrote tests. Therefore, they were testing on production. They were pulling their branch or doing changes without, like, outside of the Git. And like, what this really, like, how you can exist as an individual, as a part of the team. You are just frustrated. You are afraid, scared that something is gonna break. You are junior in the team. No one is really helping you because they have plenty of their work. And of course, there's a guy which is saying worked on my machine. Like always, there's that guy. Yeah, and from continuous integration, we had like maximum flag 8 for Python, which is just a basic checks, nothing really super special. And this was the stage that company was really getting traction. The bookings were higher and higher, and we couldn't really like get the service down. For example, a few minutes or an hour of outage could cost us like 100K euro, which for the company which had 20 developers was extremely huge. So it was pretty stressful environment. I'm not gonna be lying. Okay, so how is the reality now? What we have changed, how we became better teammates, how we changed as a team, as a culture, how we are working. So currently, as Kuba mentioned, we pack everything into container. So there is no more that guy that is saying works on my machine. It works on all the machines. It's a single tool. It's a single environment. It's easy to help others because everyone knows the tool. There is plenty of documentation, videos, training at just standard, which like in the whole industry, there isn't a better tool, I think. Again, as a standard service for deployment of Docker containers, AVS and GCP, Amazon and Google deployment, and staging servers, staging databases, separated data, separated backend. And for example, you want to test on the production, not a problem. There is a canary deployment or different types of deployment on Kubernetes, where you can redirect part of the traffic to your branch, test it out over there, validate that it works, and then you merge both versions together to the version that is working better. Okay, and as for the standards, there is always in the engineering that please don't reinvent the wheel that is already been done. How about you reuse some of that code? So as for the Python tools, for example, there is Black currently in our pipeline, PyLint, MyPy. Black is one of the tools that I really like because there are no more arguing that, okay, what are we going to be using? Tabs or spaces? Is there going to be formatted this way or that way? There is nothing like that because you don't really want to be solving formatting issues. You don't really want to be thinking about formatting. You would just want to have a tool that is consistent, and you want to be solving problems that are bringing money to the company, because otherwise we are just paying you and you're sitting over there. So less arguing, less annoyances, less differences between projects to projects. When we broken down to that monorepo to microservices, we need to make it consistent. So when I'm going from one service to fix something else or develop on something else, we just need to be, well, not really need to be, but it's nice to be in a familiar environment. When the file structure is similar, when the formatting is similar, you feel like it's your old room, but in blue, not in green. Yeah, PyLint, more checks for your buggy code, which can be caught basically for free. MyPy, the more you scale your team, more you scale your business, you need to be thinking, okay, what are the other checks? What are the typings that I can add to my repository so it works more consistently? So this is, like, again, the tools that help you also transfer not only yourself from project to project, but whole team from project to project, and each members between the projects. So it inevitably becomes a better team member by this. And one example is one of the engineers, Hinek, was switching team recently. It was a month ago. And he was really sick of his whole team because he was there for 3 years. And that's a pretty long time for a single domain to be in. So, and after a week, he switched because of this familiarity, because of the tools that we had in the pipeline. He was able to solve meaningful problems not why you guys are doing something different in your formatting or in your code runs or test runs. So nothing like what are you using spaces. It was design questions and business logic adjustments within. I think that speaks for itself. So again, how is it better for the team and for me as a teammate? I'm less frustrated, therefore others are less frustrated. I don't waste time of others because I don't ask them for review if my build is failing, my pipeline is not working, if my pre-commit is not working, or build of the container is failing. Yeah, and there are these familiarities, standards, and merge request reviews in person. Highly recommend. Alrighty, then all the problems that we've been solving 4 years ago is that we just jumped ahead and start coding. And I was saying, we also been proud of code is the best documentation, which I highly disagree, because our lizard brain is absolutely terrible of understanding complex problems after a time period. The best thing what you can do is abstract and do some sketches, some graphs, which were not present. So for example, you will end up with like 50 megabytes of repository, which you don't understand how it works, and it's just a text. So it's pretty large. So no design first, no documents, no one really know how it goes. Yeah. So what have we really changed? What's really made best change in the like happiness of working within the team and within the other teams? How to become a better teammate? It was design first approach using open API, not Flask, not figuring out something like, well, if you are following some standard like open API, also force you to be like design it better. It also allows to agree upon plan beforehand. You are doing the implementation, so 2 teams can start at the same time. They can deliver faster. And if you are talking about the problem beforehand, you might be getting a much better picture of what was going on and how the bigger picture, how everything works together. And you can get a much better design because you are talking about it with your team. You are brainstorming, you are grooming the idea, you are getting new ideas from another people. You are just not jumping into the code and solving it right away. So how does that make you a better teammate? Again, you're less frustrated, you get better ideas. Well, again, if you are a snowflake, I guess your ideas are the best and there cannot be better ideas, but if like there is a term of rubberjack programming that you explain what you're about to do and then you do it, and usually it ends up with a much clearer and better design, less storage and things like that. It really involves around communication and sharing. So there is reduced buzz factor of not a single person having all the knowledge in the team, but team is sharing the knowledge. So and easier to get back to the project or the feature that have been forgotten for multiple. Sorry. Yeah. So at the end, what happened at Kiwi, we created the like there is a templating project called Cookie Cutter, and we have this templates for basically any service that we would like to introduce into our product. So it's a template for Go, for synchronous, asynchronous, web framework, library, and most of it, it's based on OpenAPI. Currently thinking about going to other directions, but currently it's the best what we got. And nice article about architecture decision records by Spotify on their blog. I highly recommend that. We are trying to implement that as best of our abilities in Kiwi. So, and there is a bonus, people in the team. So we are working with humans with their small brains, and they act very randomly on very random occasions. And so it's nice when you are doing your merge request reviews that you are not acting as a ruler and you always have your truth and there is nothing more than your truth. There is a nice explanation in the attached links. For example, mentioning the topic beforehand and then posting your comment. For example, this is a nitpick and you don't really need to consider it. It's not blocking the release. This is something serious and you should pay attention. And this is just a random comment that you really don't need to do anything about. So you are communicating with humans. So it's not just a computer. It's great to give and receive feedback. Again, the feedback that we are getting from the computer, okay, the keyboard is nice and the screen is shining very bright, but it's not just the computer, it's people. The things that really work is trust your colleagues, encourage them to take responsibility, share credit where it's due, and take ownership, because you are the one that needs to lead as an example, which creates a culture. If you are lazy and you let your less experienced colleagues merge something that you don't like, but you are lazy to explain them, then it's gonna get copy-pasted, then it's gonna grow, and it's like monorepo all over again. So, breaking bad habits is not easy to get from the stage where we've been 4 years ago to get over here. I haven't really talked about much of the details, like how we implemented it, but how you eat an elephant, it's one bite at a time. And ultimately, I think we as a software engineers are the makers of our own prison. And if we won't take action, we're gonna be imprisoned instead of happy contributing. So it's upon us to take action, to be a better leader and better teammates. And I believe that's it. This is me, that the one on the left. Yeah, and my team. And that's it. Thank you. Questions?